The voice cuts through the morning air like a blade scraping metal. "And who might you be, Miss Technician Coffee Girl, for the real soldiers?" The laughter erupts instantly. 8 Navy SEALs, all broad shoulders and confidence, fill the narrow corridor outside the UAV control room at Pearl Harbor Naval Station. The Hawaiian sun has barely cleared the horizon, painting the reinforced windows in shades of amber and gold. But inside this corridor, the atmosphere has turned cold. At their center stands Admiral Conrad Mercer, 52 years old, silver eagles gleaming on his collar, arms crossed like he owns not just this base, but the entire Pacific Fleet. His uniform is immaculate. His posture radiates authority. His smile carries the casual cruelty of a man who has never been told no. The woman at the console does not flinch. She is smaller than any of them, hair pulled back in a regulation bun, plain uniform with no rank insignia. Her hands remain steady on the keyboard, fingers hovering over keys that control a $15 million MQ-9 Reaper reconnaissance drone currently flying somewhere over contested waters in the South China Sea. The screens in front of her display real-time thermal imaging, satellite feeds, encrypted communication channels that would make most intelligence analysts weep with envy. She processes all of it without looking away from her work. Mercer steps closer. The scent of expensive aftershave and arrogance fills the cramped space. Behind him, his team exchanges grins. This is entertainment before the morning briefing. Fresh meat, someone new to put in their place. The pecking order must be established, and this woman clearly does not understand where she falls. "I asked you a question, miss." His voice drops lower, theatrical, the kind of tone that expects immediate compliance. "Rank. What is your rank?" She turns her head slowly. No rush, no panic. Her eyes are the color of winter ocean gray and deep and utterly unreadable. When they meet, his something flickers across Mercer's face, just for a heartbeat. Then it vanishes, replaced by that familiar smirk. "Higher than yours, sir." Her voice is quiet, level. Each word measured like ammunition being loaded into a chamber. "You just do not know it yet." The corridor goes silent. Someone coughs. A boot scuffs against tile. The hum of air conditioning suddenly seems deafening. 8 of the most highly trained warriors on the planet stand frozen, uncertain how to process what they have just heard. A contractor, a civilian, a woman who looks like she should be teaching elementary school or working in some corporate office somewhere. And she just told a 2-star admiral that she outranks him. Then Mercer throws his head back and laughs. It is the kind of laugh designed to diminish, loud enough to echo, confident enough to invite everyone else to join in. And they do. Nervous at first, then louder, eager to be part of the joke. Eager to show their commanding officer that they understand the hierarchy, that they know who matters and who does not. "Cute." Mercer leans against the door frame, blocking her exit. "Real cute. Maybe I will give you a proper uniform after you polish my boots." The woman returns to her screen. Her breathing follows a deliberate pattern. 4 counts in, hold for 4, 4 counts out, hold for 4. Combat stress management, the technique they teach at Fort Bragg, at Coronado, at places most people have never heard of and will never see. She learned it during the worst moments of her life, when bullets were flying and friends were dying, and the only thing keeping her alive was the ability to control her body's response to absolute terror. Now she uses it to endure jokes. Lieutenant Garrett Prescott steps forward. 26 years old, ambitious, the kind of junior officer who laughs loudest at his commanding officer's jokes because he thinks that is how careers are built. His face carries the eager cruelty of youth combined with authority. "You heard the Admiral, sweetheart. This is a secure facility, SEAL operations only. Whatever contractor company sent you here made a mistake." She saves her work with 3 quick keystrokes. No hesitation. No need to check any manual. The encryption protocols on these systems change monthly. They require authentication codes that take most operators 5 minutes to input correctly. She does it in under 10 seconds. Prescott does not notice. Neither does Mercer. But in the corner of the room, hunched over a maintenance log, Master Chief Thomas Harrigan notices everything. He is 62 years old. Been in the Navy since before most of these kids were born. Served in the Gulf War when Saddam's forces were burning oil fields, and the sky turned black for months. Served in Kosovo when ethnic cleansing was not just a phrase in history books, but something happening in real time. He has seen enough combat, enough death, enough heroism and cowardice to fill several lifetimes. And he has seen enough to know when something does not add up. The way she holds that tablet, 3 fingers on the base thumb and index supporting the edge. That is not how civilians grip equipment. That is not even how regular Navy handles gear. That is the hold they teach at advanced tactical schools. The kind where you learn to operate under fire, where dropping your equipment means mission failure, where muscle memory has to override panic because panic will get you killed. Harrigan's pen stops moving. He does not look up, does not give anything away, but his jaw tightens beneath his gray beard. 43 years in the Navy, and his instincts have never failed him. They are screaming now. This woman is not what she appears to be. You know what I think? Mercer pushes off the doorframe steps fully into the control room. His team follows, filling the space with testosterone and cologne. 8 large men crowding a woman who weighs maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. I think someone made a mistake letting you in here. This is a secure facility, real operators only, not contractors, not civilians, and certainly not whatever you are. She stands. The movement is economical, balanced. When her hands fold behind her back, they settle into a position that is exactly regulation. Not approximately, not close enough, exactly at ease. The way it is drilled into you until your body remembers it decades later. The way it becomes part of who you are. I will make this simple. Mercer is enjoying himself now, playing to his audience. The morning briefing can wait. This is more entertaining. You have got about 30 seconds to explain what a tech support girl is doing with access to my UAV systems before I call security and have you escorted off this base. Permanently. 28 seconds, Prescott adds helpfully. He checks his watch with exaggerated precision. 27. She reaches into her chest pocket. The movement makes Mercer's hand drift toward his sidearm. Instinct. Training. But she is only pulling out a laminated card. Standard issue. The kind every contractor and civilian employee carries on base. Nothing threatening, nothing unusual. Technical consultant. She hands it to him. Cleared for all non-combat systems. Network maintenance, diagnostic protocols. Everything is in order, Admiral. Mercer examines the card like it might be counterfeit, holds it up to the light, checks the holographic seal, runs his thumb over the embedded chip. Everything is in order. It has to be. She would not be here otherwise. The security protocols at Pearl Harbor are among the strictest in the world, but something about this does not sit right with him, and men like Mercer do not like things that do not sit right. Well, Miss Consultant, he flicks the card back at her. It hits her chest and falls to the floor. She does not move to catch it, does not flinch, does not react at all. Just stands there watching him with those gray eyes that reveal nothing. I do not care what this card says. I do not care what paperwork you filed or whose signature you got. You stay in your lane. That means you do not touch tactical systems. You do not access classified files. You fix computers when we tell you they are broken, and you stay out of the way when real operators are working. Understood, sir. She bends to retrieve her identification. As she straightens, her sleeve rides up just enough to expose the inside of her left forearm. There is a scar there. Not the clean line of surgery. Something jagged, irregular. The kind that comes from shrapnel. From being too close when something explodes. From surviving something that should have killed you. Chief Warrant Officer Neil Bradford sees it. His eyes narrow. He has been deployed enough times to recognize blast patterns on human skin. That is not a civilian injury. That is combat. But Mercer is already moving. Already dismissing her from his mind. He has a briefing in 15 minutes, a training exercise to oversee, a whole base of people who snap to attention when he walks past. Why waste time on some contractor who probably got her job through connections rather than capability, Lieutenant Prescott? Mercer pauses at the door. Make sure our friend here gets the message. This control room is off limits unless she is specifically requested, and that request needs to come through my office first. Personally approved. In writing. Yes, sir. Prescott grins at the woman, the kind of smile that carries no warmth, only satisfaction at exercising power over someone who cannot fight back. Do not worry, miss. We will find you something more suitable. Maybe the commissary needs help with dishes. Or there is always laundry. Someone has to wash the real soldiers' uniforms. More laughter. They file out, voices fading down the corridor. Someone mentions breakfast. Someone else has a joke about contractors. The door swings shut behind them. The control room returns to its baseline hum. Servers processing data. Cooling fans pushing air. The quiet electronic heartbeat of systems that never sleep. Outside, through reinforced windows, the Hawaiian sun climbs higher over runways and hangars, and the distant blue immensity of the Pacific Ocean. Harrigan has not moved from his corner. He is still holding his pen, still pretending to review maintenance logs. But his eyes track the woman as she returns to her station, settles back into her chair, pulls up the same diagnostic screen she was running before the interruption. Her hands return to the keyboard. That grip again. That specific, unmistakable hold. Been at it long. His voice is rough. Decades of shouting over engine noise and gunfire have given it a permanent rasp. She does not startle, does not even pause in her typing. Long enough, Master Chief. She knows his rank without looking at his uniform. Interesting. Most contractors cannot tell the difference between a Master Chief and a petty officer. Most civilians think all uniforms look the same. Those encryption protocols, he taps his pen against the logbook. Most folks need the manual. Take them 10-15 minutes to authenticate properly. Saw you do it in under 10 seconds. I have worked with similar systems before. Similar? Harrigan nods slowly, closes his logbook, stands with the careful movements of a man whose knees remember too many parachute landings, too many hard exits from helicopters under fire. That is one word for it. She finally looks at him, really looks, and there is a calculation happening behind those gray eyes, an assessment of risk and necessity and how much this particular conversation might cost her. Is there something I can help you with, Master Chief? Just curious. He walks toward the door, pauses with his hand on the frame. Been in this Navy 43 years, seen a lot of people come through, seen a lot of specialists with clearances they should not have. Technical consultants who know things they should not know. He turns back, meets her eyes directly. Seen operators too, the real kind, the ones who do not advertise what they are, the ones who move through the world like ghosts doing jobs that never make the news, that never get acknowledged, that most people will never know happen. She returns to her screen without responding. Harrigan opens the door, then stops. That breathing pattern, he says quietly. 4x4. Combat stress management. They teach it at Fort Bragg, at Coronado, at places most people have never heard of. He does not wait for confirmation. I was at Bragg in '98, instructor rotation. Saw a lot of young operators come through. Learned to recognize the signs, the way they move, the way they breathe, the way they watch everything without appearing to watch anything. Silence stretches between them. You have a good day, miss? The door clicks shut behind him. The woman's fingers remain steady on the keyboard, but her jaw tightens, just slightly, just enough. The old Master Chief sees more than most people give him credit for. That could be a problem, or it could be an asset. She files the information away for later analysis. On her wrist, barely visible beneath her sleeve, a watch face displays the time in 24-hour format. Military standard. But there is something else there too. A small button on the side. Recessed. Easy to miss unless you know to look for it. The kind of button that does not come standard on any commercial timepiece. She glances at it. Not yet. Not nearly yet. Outside, Mercer is already at the dining facility holding court at a table of junior officers. The story's getting better with each retelling. Growing, expanding, becoming legend in real time. So I walk in, and there is this girl pretending to run diagnostics on a Reaper feed. He spreads his hands, incredulous. I mean, she could not have been more than 5'6". Looked like she should be teaching kindergarten, not touching military hardware, worth more than most people will make in their entire lives. The table erupts in appropriate laughter. What did you do, sir? Prescott leans forward, eager, playing his role, the attentive subordinate hanging on every word. What could I do? Explain the facts of life. Told her to stay in her lane. Probably will not last a week. These contractors never do. They get one taste of how we actually operate, how real warriors conduct business, and they are gone. Back to their safe little civilian jobs where the biggest threat is a paper cut. Commander Douglas Whitmore, head of base security, frowns into his coffee. He is 47 years old, seen enough cycles of hotshot leaders to recognize the pattern. Confidence is good, necessary even. You cannot command men into combat without absolute belief in yourself. But there is a line between confidence and carelessness, and Mercer has a habit of crossing it. This consultant have proper clearance. Oh, everything was in order. Mercer waves a dismissive hand, spears a piece of pineapple with his fork. ID checked out. Paperwork probably perfect. You know how it works. Someone in procurement gets pressure from some senator's office. Suddenly we have got civilians running around like they own the place. Security theater. Still, Whitmore sets down his cup. Might be worth having my people verify. Access to UAV controls is not something we hand out casually, even to contractors with proper documentation. Be my guest. Mercer grins, confident, unconcerned. You will find everything is technically legal, which is exactly the problem. Too many lawyers, not enough warriors, too much paperwork, not enough action. The conversation shifts to the upcoming training exercise, a joint operation with Army Rangers, simulated coastal insertion, 3 days of proving once again that SEALs are the apex predators of modern warfare. Mercer is in his element, describing tactical approaches, assigning roles, making it clear that failure is not an option. Never has been, never will be, not on his watch. Nobody notices when Whitmore slips away early, phone already at his ear, requesting a deep background check on their newest contractor. Back in the control room, the woman works through her diagnostics with methodical precision. Surface level, everything looks routine. File access logs, system performance metrics, standard maintenance protocols that any competent technician would run. The kind of boring, tedious work that makes people's eyes glaze over. But buried in that routine, hidden in the gaps between official tasks, she is doing something else entirely. Cross-referencing access patterns, tracking data flows, building a map of who touches what information and when, looking for anomalies, discrepancies, the tiny cracks in operational security that suggest someone is operating outside normal parameters. 3 months ago, her orders were simple. Infiltrate this base, maintain a low profile, identify the leak. Someone at this facility has been selling classified tactical data to private military contractors. Not just selling it, packaging it beautifully. Timed releases that maximize damage while minimizing traceability. Whoever is running this operation understands military information architecture at an expert level, which means it is someone senior, someone with access, someone who knows exactly how to cover their tracks. The operation was authorized at the highest levels. General Patricia Hartwell, 3-star commander of Joint Special Operations Command, had personally approved her deployment. Hartwell was a legend in her own right, a woman who had risen through special operations when female officers were rare as diamonds, a woman who understood what it meant to be dismissed, underestimated, and ultimately vindicated. If everything went wrong, Hartwell would come for her. That knowledge was the only comfort she allowed herself. The obvious suspect would be Mercer. He has got the clearance, the opportunity, and certainly the ego to believe he is untouchable. A man like that, convinced of his own superiority, might easily rationalize betrayal, might tell himself he deserves more than his salary provides, might convince himself that selling secrets is not really treason if the buyers are American companies rather than foreign governments. But obvious does not mean correct. 3 months of watching has taught her that this base runs on a complex web of relationships and rivalries. Half a dozen people could be responsible, maybe more. The leak could be coming from anywhere, could be anyone. So she stays quiet, stays small, lets them think she is exactly what she appears to be. Just another contractor filling a technical role. Forgettable, dismissible, beneath notice. Until she has enough evidence to burn the whole operation down. Her screen flickers. An alert. Someone is trying to access a file she's been monitoring. Equipment requisition logs for a training mission that happened 6 weeks ago. Nothing sensitive on the surface. Just routine paperwork about ammunition counts and fuel consumption. Except that same file was accessed twice in the past month by users who had no legitimate reason to view it. Users whose access patterns suggest they were looking for something specific, something hidden in the routine data. She lets the access complete, does not block it, does not flag it, just watches, records, adds it to the pattern she is building. Another piece of the puzzle, another thread in the web she is weaving around whoever is selling out their country. The door opens. Prescott enters, trying for casual confidence but landing somewhere near aggressive swagger, his ego still riding high from the morning's entertainment. Ready for round two. Hey, miss? He does not know her name, has not bothered to learn it. She is not important enough to remember. Admiral's orders: you are not authorized for this terminal during operational hours. Going to need you to log off. I am running system diagnostics. She does not look up from her screen. Should be finished in about 20 minutes. Yeah, well, operational hours started at 0600, so... He makes a shooing gesture, like she is a stray cat that wandered in from the parking lot. Going to need that to happen now? She saves her work, logs out, gathers her tablet and the small bag of tools that every technician carries. Professional equipment, nothing suspicious, nothing that would raise eyebrows if searched. Prescott watches her with barely concealed satisfaction. Small victories, putting civilians in their place. Wait until he tells the guys at lunch. The story will be even better than this morning. You know what the problem is. He leans against her now vacated console, crosses his arms, settles in for a lecture he has clearly been rehearsing. You civilians do not understand hierarchy, do not understand what it means to earn your place in an organization like this. We spend years training, bleeding, proving ourselves, surviving things that would break normal people. Then someone like you shows up with a piece of paper and thinks that gives you the same access, the same respect. She pauses at the door. You are right, Lieutenant. I do not understand that at all. The response confuses him. He was expecting defensiveness, maybe some civilian appeal to rules and regulations. This calm agreement throws off his rhythm, makes him uncertain how to respond. Just stay out of our way, he finishes lamely. She leaves without responding. The afternoon brings routine humiliation. Whitmore's security team pulls her aside for additional ID verification. Perfectly legal, perfectly within regulations. Also perfectly obvious harassment. They make her wait in a windowless room for 45 minutes before beginning. She sits patiently, maintains the controlled rhythm that has become second nature. Thinks about Syria. The desert night is cold in ways that people who have never been there cannot understand. 2 years ago, a convoy of 4 Humvees moving through territory that intelligence said was clear. 12 operators from Task Force Phoenix, the best of the best. Men and women who had survived dozens of missions together, who trusted each other with their lives. Commander Eliza Blackwood was in the second vehicle, 26 years old, already a legend in certain classified circles. The kind of operator who collected commendations that would never be publicly acknowledged and medals that would never be publicly displayed. She had joined the military at 18, proved herself in basic training, caught the attention of recruiters who look for specific things, the ability to remain calm under pressure, the willingness to do what needs to be done, the psychological resilience that separates warriors from soldiers. SEER training, survival evasion, resistance escape, 3 weeks of controlled hell designed to break you down and see what remains. She finished in the top 3 of her class. Advanced tactical training, languages, weapon systems, hand-to-hand combat, the endless refinement of skills that might someday mean the difference between mission success and mission failure, between life and death. Then the real work began, operations that do not appear in any public record, missions that officially never happen. The shadow war that America fights every day while its citizens sleep peacefully, never knowing how close the darkness sometimes comes. She was good at it. Too good, some said. The kind of operator who completed objectives that others deemed impossible, who came back from situations that should have been fatal, who earned a reputation as someone you sent when failure was not an option. But on that night in Syria, failure found her anyway. The intelligence briefing had changed 2 hours before departure. New route, updated threat assessment, the kind of last-minute modification that happens constantly in active combat zones. Nobody questioned it. Nobody had reason to. The convoy was 37 minutes into the mission when the first IED detonated. The lead vehicle disappeared in a flash of light and thunder. One moment it was there. The next moment it was a burning skeleton of twisted metal blocking the road forward. Before anyone could react, RPGs streaked from the darkness. 2 impacts on the second vehicle, 2 more on the third. The precision was terrifying. Whoever planned this ambush knew exactly where to hit, exactly when to strike, exactly how to maximize casualties. Eliza was thrown from the vehicle, hit the ground hard, felt ribs crack, felt blood flowing from somewhere she could not identify. The world became a chaos of gunfire and screaming, and the acrid smell of burning fuel. She crawled, through sand that was turning red with blood, through debris that tore at her uniform and skin, toward the sound of someone calling her name. Sergeant William Miller, 29 years old, father of 2, the best combat medic she had ever worked with. He was lying against a shattered wheel, holding his stomach together with both hands, watching his life leak out between his fingers. "Commander," his voice was weak, fading. "Someone sold us out. The route change. It was wrong. They knew we were coming. Save your strength. Medevac is coming." But they both knew that was a lie. The ambush was too complete, too professional. Help would not arrive in time. "Find them." Miller grabbed her arm with surprising strength. "Promise me. Find whoever did this. Make them pay." "I promise." "Swear it." "I swear." He smiled, just slightly. Then the light went out of his eyes. Eliza looked up. Through the smoke and chaos, she saw something. A figure on a rooftop, 300 meters away, holding what looked like a radio, watching the massacre unfold like it was entertainment. Then darkness took her. She woke up in Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. 3 weeks had passed. 11 of her teammates were dead. She was the sole survivor. The official report cited faulty intelligence, unfortunate timing, the fog of war. But Eliza knew better. Someone had changed that route. Someone with access to classified briefings. Someone who knew exactly where the convoy would be and exactly when it would arrive. Someone had sold them out. A man in civilian clothes visited her hospital room on the 4th day of her recovery. Gray hair, hard eyes. The kind of bearing that suggested decades of experience in rooms most people would never see. General Theodore Ashford. He told her she was dead, officially, publicly, permanently. Commander Eliza Blackwood had been killed in action in Syria. There would be a memorial service, a flag presentation, a star on a wall at Langley that most people would never understand. And then he made her an offer. Operation Sovereign Ghost. Deep cover infiltration. Use her death as an asset. Become someone else. Hunt down the people responsible for the Syria ambush and the broader network they represented. She accepted without hesitation. 2 years of being dead, 2 years of hunting, 2 years of following threads that led to private military contractors and corrupt officials, and a web of betrayal that reached higher than anyone wanted to admit. The threads led here, to Pearl Harbor, to this base, to Admiral Conrad Mercer and whoever else was involved in selling American secrets to the highest bidder. She had promised Miller. She intended to keep that promise. No matter how long it took, no matter what she had to endure, the security verification takes another hour. They photograph her credentials, run her fingerprints through databases she already knows she will pass, ask questions they already know the answers to. "How long have you been on base?" 3 months. "And your previous posting?" "I am a contractor. I do not have postings." "Right. Previous contract then." "Classified." That makes them exchange looks. Civilians claiming classification is always suspicious. Usually it means they are lying. Sometimes it means they are telling the truth, and it is above your clearance to verify. "We will need to confirm that." "Contact the number on my clearance documentation. They will verify everything you need to know." They will. They will reach a very real office at a very real agency that will confirm she is exactly who she claims to be. The paperwork is immaculate. It has to be. People died to make this cover solid, By 1600 hours, she is back at her temporary quarters. A small room in the contractor housing unit, concrete walls, metal frame bed, a desk and chair that were probably surplus from some Cold War-era installation. The kind of sparse institutional space that most people would find depressing. She does not care. She has slept in worse, done entire deployments in conditions that would break most civilians mentally before it ever touched them physically. A concrete room with a working toilet and climate control is practically luxury. She sits on the bed. The weight of the day settles onto her shoulders. 3 months of pretending. 3 months of enduring contempt for men who would never understand what she had sacrificed. 3 months of watching Mercer strut through the base like a king while she cataloged his crimes in silence. For one brief moment, she lets the mask slip. Lets herself feel the exhaustion, the anger, the bone-deep weariness of living a lie. Miller, Jackson, Crawford, Brennan, Wallace, Thornton, Douglas, Harrington, Caldwell, Bennett, Adams, 11 names, 11 lives, 11 families who receive folded flags and empty condolences and will never know the truth about why their loved ones died. She carries them with her, every day, every moment. They are the weight that keeps her grounded, the fire that keeps her moving forward when exhaustion and despair whisper that she should give up. Then she straightens, refocuses, returns to the mission. Her tablet contains encrypted files that would cause a diplomatic incident if discovered. Training schedules, personnel rosters, supply chain logistics. Everything you would need to plan an operation against this facility. Everything someone selling secrets would want to acquire. She is not here to protect those secrets. She is here to find who is already stealing them. The pieces are starting to fit. Mercer's aggressive need to control access. Prescott's nervousness around anyone who might see things they should not. Bradford's technical knowledge that goes deeper than his official role requires. Whitmore's security checks that seem designed more to intimidate than investigate. Any one of them could be the leak. All of them could be involved. The only way to know for certain is to wait for them to make a mistake, to push hard enough that they reveal themselves trying to push back, which means tomorrow needs to escalate. She needs to be in places she is not supposed to be, accessing systems that will trigger alerts, making enough noise that whoever is watching feels threatened enough to act. Outside her window, the sun sets over the Pacific in streaks of orange and purple. Beautiful, peaceful, the kind of view that makes people forget wars are being fought, that operators are dying, that corruption thrives in comfortable shadows. Somewhere out there, submarines patrol in silence. Carrier groups project power. Young men and women put themselves between civilization and chaos because someone has to, because they are willing. Most of them are good, dedicated, honorable, but not all, never all. She sets an alarm for 4:30, early enough to be on base before most people arrive, early enough to be in the control room when the overnight shift logs off and the day shift is not quite ready, early enough to see what happens when she stops being careful. Sleep comes easily. Years of training taught her to rest when possible, because you never know when the next chance will come, because exhaustion kills as surely as bullets, because the body needs recovery even when the mind wants to keep pushing. 4 hours later, the alarm pulls her back to consciousness. She dresses in the dark, same plain uniform, same anonymous contractor appearance, runs through a mental checklist that has become automatic. ID card, tablet, tools, the watch with its hidden button that she still has not pressed. Not yet. The base at 0500 is a different world. Skeleton crew, night maintenance, a few insomniacs and early risers. The corridors are quiet, the usual bustle replaced by the hollow echo of her own footsteps. She moves through the dim passages like water, finding the path of least resistance. Years of infiltration training made her expert at being unremarkable, at occupying spaces without drawing attention, at becoming part of the background. The control room is locked. Her access card works. The light turns green. The door clicks open. Inside, the overnight operator is half asleep, monitoring automated systems that have not required human intervention in hours. His coffee is cold. His eyes are glazed. Another night of watching screens that never change. Morning, she says it quietly, non-threatening. He startles anyway. Jesus. I mean morning. He is young, probably his first posting, still nervous around anyone who appears unexpectedly in secure spaces. You are early. Diagnostics run better with light system traffic. Fewer variables. Yeah, makes sense. He is already packing up, eager to hand off responsibility and get to breakfast, eager to escape the tedium of the night watch. Everything is green. Feeds are nominal. Had one hiccup on the satellite uplink around 0300, but it auto-corrected. I will check the logs. Cool, cool, I am out then. He leaves. She is alone. The control room hums its familiar song. Servers and cooling fans and the quiet electronic heartbeat that never stops. She moves to the main console, pulls up system access logs. Not the surface level stuff, the deep architecture, user authentication records, file transfer protocols, the digital fingerprints that people think are invisible but never truly are. And there it is, an access spike at 0300. Right when the uplink hiccuped, someone logged in remotely, pulled data. Not much. A few kilobytes. Probably looked like routine telemetry to anyone glancing at the logs, except the access came from an IP address that traces back to the Admiral's office. At 3 in the morning, when the building is locked and alarmed and supposedly empty. She photographs the screen with her tablet. Encrypted storage, chain of custody, evidence that will hold up when this eventually reaches court-martial proceedings. The door opens behind her. What are you doing? She does not jump, does not close the screen, just turns calmly. Bradford stands in the doorway, maintenance bag over his shoulder, suspicion written across his face like accusation. System diagnostics. At 0500, light traffic, better performance data. He steps closer, looks at her screen. His expression shifts. He recognizes what he is seeing, understands the implications. You are looking at security logs. I am looking at system access patterns, part of diagnostics. That is not diagnostics, that is surveillance. For a moment, neither speaks. The air conditioning whispers. A server fan clicks into higher speed. Outside, the first light of dawn begins to color the windows. You need to log off, Bradford says finally. Now. In a moment. No. Now. His hand moves toward the radio on his belt. Or I am calling this in. She saves her work, logs off, stands. Chief Bradford, if someone on this base is compromising classified systems, would you not want to know? What I want is for contractors to stay in their lane. What I want is to not have to explain to my commanding officer why some civilian is digging through access logs at 0500 in the morning. Fair enough. She moves toward the door. He does not block her path. Not aggressively, just stands there. A wall of uncertainty trying to decide if she is a problem that needs escalating. Who are you really? Exactly who my ID says I am. Your ID says you are a technical consultant, but technical consultants do not run security audits, do not know how to read authentication protocols at this level. He is not stupid, probably never was, just playing his part in a system he trusts. I have been doing this job for 12 years. I know what normal looks like. You are not it. Maybe that is because normal is broken. Or maybe you are a plant. Industrial espionage happens more than people think. Contractors get hired by competitors, by foreign intelligence, by people who want exactly what you are looking for. His hand tightens on his radio. I should have you arrested right now. You should. She holds his gaze. But you will not, because some part of you knows something is wrong here. You have felt it. Small things that do not add up. Access patterns that seem off. Orders that do not quite make sense. His jaw works. Get out. She leaves. Behind her, Bradford stands in the control room, radio in hand, trying to decide which is more dangerous, trusting a stranger or ignoring his instincts. The morning briefing passes without incident. She sits alone in the corner of the enlisted dining facility, eating a sandwich that tastes like cardboard and institutional efficiency. Around her, conversations ebb and flow, deployment stories, complaints about training schedules, speculation about upcoming assignments. She listens, files it away, patterns within patterns. Who defers to whom? Which groups form natural alliances, where the real power flows underneath the official hierarchy? Prescott enters with his team, spots her, whispers something to the men beside him. They look over, laugh, keep walking. The bread turns to paste in her mouth, but she keeps eating, keeps observing, keeps playing the role she has maintained for 3 months. Her watch displays the time, 13:37. She has a meeting scheduled for 1400, routine check-in with the base IT director. Officially, it is about software updates and network security. Unofficially, it is a dead drop, a chance to pass information up the chain without electronic trails. She finishes her sandwich, clears her tray, walks across the base under the brutal Pacific sun. The heat here is different than desert heat, humid, oppressive. It soaks into your uniform and makes everything stick, makes you feel like you are breathing through wet cloth. But it is nothing compared to Syria, nothing compared to the cold that lives in her bones now, the cold that will not leave until she finishes what she started. The IT building is older construction, built back when the Navy thought concrete bunkers were the solution to everything. Inside, the air conditioning fights a losing battle against decades of inadequate ventilation. Commander Robert Phillips waits in his office on the second floor. 45 years old, looks 60, too many years staring at screens, hunting for vulnerabilities, patching systems that were outdated when he inherited them. He is competent, dedicated, and completely unaware that the woman entering his office represents a classification level he has never been briefed on. Ah, good, right on time. He gestures to a chair stacked with technical manuals. Just move those. So we need to talk about the firewall updates. The new protocols from Cyber Command are a nightmare to implement with our current architecture. She moves the manuals, sits, pulls out her tablet. For 10 minutes, they have a legitimate conversation about network security. Patch schedules, vendor compatibility, the kind of tedious technical discussion that makes most people's eyes glaze over. Then Phillips leans back, rubs his eyes. I am going to grab coffee. You want anything? I am fine, thank you. He leaves. The door clicks shut. She has approximately 6 minutes. Phillips is predictable, creature of habit. The break room is 2 floors down. He will take the stairs because he is trying to get his steps in. Black coffee, 2 sugars, exactly 6 minutes. She has timed it 3 times. She moves to his computer. It is logged in, careless but typical. Navigates to a specific shared folder buried 3 layers deep in the directory structure. Creates a new file, encrypted, disguised as a system log. Dumps the data she has collected, access patterns, file timestamps, user IDs that do not quite match official rosters, the suspicious activity from 0300. Upload complete. Delete local copies. Clear recent file history. Return to her chair. 5 minutes, 40 seconds. Phillips returns at 6 minutes, 15 seconds. Close enough. He is carrying 2 cups. Changed my mind. He hands her one. Figured you could probably use it. She accepts. Sips. It is terrible coffee. Government contract stuff that tastes like it was brewed through old boots. She drinks it anyway. So about those vendor compatibility issues, they finish their meeting. She leaves with a stack of documentation about firewall protocols that she will never read and he will never follow up on. The coffee cup goes in the trash outside. The real message is already racing up the chain of command, bouncing through encrypted servers, landing eventually on a desk at Fort Meade, where someone with more stars than Phillips will ever see decides whether her intel justifies further action. The sun sets over Pearl Harbor. Eliza stands at the window of her small room, watching the sky burn through shades of orange and purple, and finally deep crimson. The same colors that painted the Syrian desert on the night everything changed. The same beauty that exists in a world where 11 good people were betrayed by someone they trusted. She thinks about Miller, about Jackson and Crawford and Brennan and Wallace, about Thornton and Douglas and Harrington and Caldwell and Bennett and Adams. 11 names, 11 lives, 11 reasons to keep going. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. Bradford saw too much. Will probably report what he witnessed. That report will reach Mercer. Mercer will react. The situation will escalate. Good. Escalation creates pressure. Pressure creates mistakes. Mistakes create evidence. She needs them to make mistakes. She needs them to reveal themselves. She sets her alarm for 4:30 again, lies down on the metal bed, closes her eyes. Before sleep takes her, she whispers into the darkness, "I have not forgotten any of you. Tomorrow I get one step closer, and when I find them all, you can finally rest." 11 ghosts hear her promise. 11 ghosts wait for justice. And Commander Eliza Blackwood, officially dead for 2 years, sleeps with their names carved into her heart. Tomorrow the hunt continues. The control room at 0500 feels different today. Eliza stands at the main console, fingers moving across the keyboard with practiced precision. The overnight operator left 12 minutes ago. The day shift will not arrive for another 43 minutes. She has a window, a narrow slice of time when the systems belong to her alone. The screens glow pale blue in the darkness. Data streams cascade down multiple monitors. Satellite feeds, communication intercepts. The endless digital heartbeat of American military intelligence flowing through servers that never sleep. She is not here for routine diagnostics today. She is here to find proof. The access spike from 0300 has been haunting her for 18 hours. Someone used Admiral Mercer's credentials to pull classified data in the middle of the night from an IP address registered to his office, while the building was locked and alarmed. Either Mercer himself was here violating every protocol about after-hours access to secure systems, or someone else has his credentials. Both possibilities point toward the same conclusion: treason, betrayal, the kind of rot that spreads from the inside out. She navigates deeper into the system architecture, past the surface logs that any technician might review, down into the authentication records that require specialized knowledge to access, the digital fingerprints that reveal not just what was accessed, but how, when, from where. The data begins to resolve. File transfer protocols, timestamps accurate to the millisecond, user verification chains that should be impossible to fake. She cross-references the 0300 access with Mercer's official schedule, his building access logs, his vehicle GPS data from the base parking system. The picture becomes clear. At 0300, Admiral Conrad Mercer was at his residence in base housing. His vehicle had not moved since 22:15 the previous night. His building access card had not been used since 1847, but his credentials accessed the system from inside his locked, alarmed, supposedly empty office. Someone else was using his authentication. Someone with physical access to spaces that should be restricted. Someone who knew how to move through this base without leaving traces. She photographs the screens, documents everything, adds it to the evidence file that grows larger every day. The door opens behind her. She does not turn, does not panic, just continues working as if she belongs exactly where she is. "What are you doing?" Chief Warrant Officer Neil Bradford's voice carries an edge that was not there yesterday. Harder, more suspicious. He has been thinking about their encounter, turning it over in his mind, coming to conclusions he does not like. System diagnostics. At 0500, again. Light traffic produces better data. You said that yesterday. He steps into the room, lets the door close behind him. The sound echoes in the quiet space like a cell door slamming shut. "I have been thinking about our conversation, about what you were looking at, about the questions you asked." She finally turns, meets his eyes, keeps her expression neutral. "And what conclusions have you reached, Chief? That you are not a technical consultant? That you know things you should not know? That you are looking for something specific?" He crosses his arms. "That you found it. If I found evidence of a security breach, would you want to know?" "That depends on who is doing the breaching." The answer tells her everything she needs to know. Bradford is not the leak, but he is protective of someone who might be, loyal to a hierarchy that might be corrupt, caught between duty and doubt. "I found unauthorized access to classified systems," she says quietly. "Someone is using Admiral Mercer's credentials to pull sensitive data. The access patterns suggest coordination with outside parties. The timing suggests they know exactly when to move to avoid detection." Bradford's face hardens. "You are accusing the Admiral of treason." "I am showing you evidence of unauthorized access. The conclusions are yours to draw." This is exactly what I was worried about. Some contractor with an agenda planting evidence, trying to destroy a good man's career. Is he a good man? The question hangs in the air between them. I have served under Admiral Mercer for 3 years, Bradford says slowly. I have watched him make hard decisions, seen him put his people first, seen him take responsibility when things went wrong. Whatever you think you have found, I do not believe it. Then verify it yourself. She steps aside, gestures toward the console. The logs are right there. Authentication records, access patterns, timestamps, all of it traceable, all of it documented. If I am wrong, the data will show it. If I am planting evidence, you will find the traces. Bradford hesitates. Go ahead, she says. Look, I will wait. He moves to the console, begins reviewing the same data she was examining. His fingers are not as fast as hers, but they are competent. He knows these systems, knows how to read the digital signatures that reveal truth or deception. Minutes pass in silence. His expression changes, doubt creeping in, confusion replacing certainty. This does not make sense. What does not make sense? The Admiral's credentials were used at 0300, but his access card never opened any doors. His vehicle never moved. His home alarm system shows he was asleep, which means Bradford turns to face her. The suspicion in his eyes has transformed into something else. Fear. The dawning realization that the ground beneath his feet might not be as solid as he believed. Which means either someone cloned his credentials, or someone with very high-level access is covering their tracks. The door opens. Lieutenant Prescott stands in the doorway. Behind him, 2 military police officers. His face carries the satisfied expression of someone about to enjoy watching a problem get solved. There she is. The Admiral wants to see you. Now. Bradford straightens, moves away from the console. Whatever he was beginning to understand, he is not ready to act on it, not yet. The hierarchy is too strong, the doubts too fresh. I was just running diagnostics, Eliza says calmly. Sure you were. Prescott grins. Funny how your diagnostics always seem to happen when nobody else is around. Funny how you keep ending up in places you do not belong. The MPs step forward. Professional, impersonal, following orders without question. You can come voluntarily, or we can make it official. Your choice. She does not resist. Resistance would accomplish nothing except confirming their suspicions. Better to maintain the cover, play the role, see where this leads. She gathers her tablet, allows the MPs to flank her, walks out of the control room with the measured steps of someone who has nothing to hide. Behind her, Bradford watches them go. His hand rests on the console. His mind races through implications he is not ready to face. The dining facility is crowded with the morning rush when they arrive. Admiral Mercer has chosen his stage carefully. Maximum audience, maximum humiliation. He sits at his usual table, surrounded by junior officers and senior enlisted holding court, like a medieval lord dispensing justice. The conversations die as Eliza enters. Every eye turns toward her. The contractor who does not know her place, the civilian who dared to challenge authority, the woman who claimed she outranked an admiral. The story has spread through the base like wildfire, growing with each retelling, becoming legend. Mercer does not stand. He gestures to the empty space in front of his table, the spot where the accused stands before judgment, the position of powerlessness. Well, well, his voice carries across the suddenly silent room. Our favorite technical consultant, making herself at home in secure facilities at 0500 in the morning, running diagnostics on systems she has no business touching. Eliza stands where indicated, hands at her sides, expression neutral. I was performing routine maintenance, Admiral, as specified in my contract. Routine maintenance. Mercer's tone drips with contempt. Chief Bradford tells me you were accessing security logs, authentication records, files that have nothing to do with your official duties. Bradford. He reported what he saw, even after their conversation, even after what she showed him. She files the information away. Another piece of the puzzle, another thread in the web. I discovered anomalous access patterns during my diagnostics, she says. Standard protocol requires documenting any irregularities. Standard protocol requires reporting those irregularities through proper channels. not conducting your own private investigation. I was gathering data before making a report. Data, Mercer leans forward. And what data did you gather, Miss Consultant? What conclusions did you reach while playing detective in the middle of the night? The room holds its breath. This is the moment, the pivot point. She could reveal what she knows, accuse him publicly, force a confrontation. But the timing is wrong. The evidence is incomplete. She needs more. I found some irregularities in the access logs. Nothing conclusive. I was planning to submit a formal report through Commander Whitmore's office. Irregularities. Mercer's eyes narrow. What kind of irregularities? Unusual access patterns during off hours. Possible authentication anomalies. The kind of thing that could indicate a system glitch. Or could indicate something more serious. Something more serious. He repeats her words like they are evidence of guilt. You mean you were looking for evidence of wrongdoing? Looking for something to use against the officers of this base? Looking for a way to justify your presence here? I was doing my job, Admiral. Your job. He stands, slowly, deliberately, using his height and authority to dominate the space. Let me tell you about your job, Miss Consultant. Your job is to fix computers when they break. Your job is to update software when we tell you to update it. Your job is to stay in your lane and stay out of the way of real operators. He steps closer. Your job is not to access secure systems without authorization. Your job is not to review classified logs that are above your clearance level. Your job is not to play investigator in matters you do not understand. With respect, Admiral, the logs I accessed were not classified. They were administrative records that fall within my authorization. With respect, he laughs, the sound is ugly, meant to wound. You do not know the meaning of respect. You come onto my base. You access my systems. You dig through files looking for dirt on my officers. And then you stand there claiming you were just doing your job. The crowd murmurs. Tension building. The smell of blood in the water. I am going to make this very simple. Mercer's voice drops, becomes the quiet tone that carries more threat than any shout. You are done here. Your access is revoked. Your contract is terminated. You will be escorted to your quarters to collect your belongings, and then you will be escorted off this base. Permanently. On what grounds? Violation of security protocols, unauthorized access to restricted systems, conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline. Those charges require documentation, evidence, a formal review process. The only process you need to worry about is the one where security puts you in a vehicle and drives you to the main gate. He turns to the MPs. Take her to holding. I want her processed and off this base within the hour. The MPs step forward. Admiral. Commander Whitmore's voice cuts through the tension. He has been watching from across the room, silent until now, but his expression suggests he is not comfortable with what he is seeing. Sir, if we are charging her with security violations, there is a process. We need to document the specific breaches, preserve evidence, follow protocols. The only protocol I care about is getting this woman off my base. Sir, with respect, if we skip the process and she turns out to be legitimate, this becomes a legal nightmare. Contractors have rights. Her company will sue. JAG will get involved. The whole thing becomes a mess. Mercer pauses. The logic reaches him through the anger. He has enemies in Washington. People who would love to see him stumble. A wrongful termination suit would give them ammunition. Fine. He waves a dismissive hand. Process her properly. Document everything. But I want her confined until we are done. Cell 3. Cell 3 is for criminal detention, sir. And I am treating this as a criminal matter. Unauthorized access to secure systems during wartime operations. That is espionage until proven otherwise. Whitmore hesitates, but he does not argue further. The chain of command is clear. The Admiral has spoken. The MPs take her arms. Come with us, ma'am. She does not resist. The walk to the holding facility is long, through corridors filled with staring faces, past offices where work has stopped so people can watch, across the courtyard where the morning sun beats down with tropical intensity. The story is spreading faster than they can walk. Phones buzzing, messages flying. By the time they reach the holding facility, Half the base will know that the contractor who claimed she outranked an admiral is being arrested for espionage. The holding facility is a low concrete building near the base perimeter, designed for temporarily detaining personnel awaiting transport to more permanent facilities. 6 cells, a processing area, the distinct smell of disinfectant failing to cover older, less pleasant odors. They take her tablet, her ID, her phone. The watch stays on her wrist. Nobody thinks to check it, just a standard-looking timepiece. Nothing suspicious, nothing worth confiscating. Cell 3 is 8 feet by 10, concrete walls, metal bench bolted to the floor, toilet without a lid, a small window near the ceiling that lets in light but shows only sky. The door locks behind her with a sound that echoes like finality. She is alone. For the first time in 3 months, she allows herself 60 seconds without the mask. 60 seconds where Commander Eliza Blackwood does not have to pretend to be someone else. The tears come unexpectedly, not for herself, not for her situation, but for Miller, for Jackson, for all of them. The 11 names she carries like stones in her chest, the 11 ghosts who will not rest until justice is done. She promised them. She swore on Miller's dying breath that she would find whoever sold them out, that she would make them pay, that their deaths would not go unanswered. And now she is locked in a cell her investigation compromised her cover, hanging by a thread. The 60 seconds end. She wipes her eyes, straightens her spine, returns to the cold calculation that has kept her alive through situations far worse than this. Think. Her watch displays 14:37. In 23 minutes, she will miss her scheduled check-in with Fort Meade. The automated systems will register the absence. Protocols will activate. Somewhere in a secure facility on the other side of the country, people with stars on their shoulders will start asking questions. In 83 minutes, if she still has not checked in, Operation Sovereign Ghost will enter emergency status. Assets will be mobilized, resources deployed. In approximately 2 hours, Admiral Conrad Mercer is going to learn that he has made a very serious mistake. But that is 2 hours away. A lot can happen in 2 hours. The door opens. Commander Whitmore enters, alone. His face carries the expression of a man who has been ordered to do something he does not entirely agree with. I need to ask you some questions. Am I being charged? That depends on your answers. He sits on the bench across from her, opens a file folder. The papers inside document her access history, every file she touched, every system she queried. You accessed user authentication logs at 0500 this morning? Yes. Why? I discovered anomalous patterns during routine diagnostics. I was investigating. You are not authorized to investigate security matters. I am authorized to document irregularities, which I was doing. Whitmore studies her for a long moment. These logs show you specifically targeted files related to Admiral Mercer's office, his access records, his authentication patterns. The logs show I reviewed anomalous access patterns. Those patterns happen to originate from that office. And you did not think to report this through proper channels. I was gathering data to determine if there was anything worth reporting. That is not your job. Actually, it is. She holds his gaze. My contract specifically requires me to report security vulnerabilities, anomalous access patterns at 0300 from a supposedly empty office using an admiral's credentials while he was documented to be at home. That qualifies as a vulnerability. Whitmore's jaw tightens. You are saying someone else was using his credentials. I am saying the data shows access from his office while he was not there. The implications are yours to determine. That is a serious accusation. That is a serious vulnerability. They stare at each other. Whitmore is not stupid. He has been in security long enough to recognize the shape of what she is describing. Long enough to understand that if she is right, the implications go far beyond a single unauthorized access. I will need to verify this. Please do. He stands, looks at the file, looks at her. Who are you really? The question comes soft, almost gentle, like he is asking because he genuinely wants to know, not because he suspects an answer he will not like. Exactly who my identification says I am, Commander. He does not believe her, but he also does not push. Stay here. The door locks again. She checks her watch. 14:52. 8 minutes until the missed check-in triggers the first alert. She settles onto the metal bench, closes her eyes, centers herself with steady breathing, and waits. The clock passes 1500 without ceremony. Somewhere in Maryland, a system registers her absence, flags it for human review, sends it up the chain to people who understand what it means when a deep cover operative goes silent. The protocols begin their quiet activation. In her cell, Eliza feels nothing, knows nothing of the machinery beginning to move on her behalf. She simply waits. Trusts the systems she helped design. Trusts the people who sent her here. The door opens. Not Whitmore this time. Two MPs she has not seen before. Their expressions are hard, professional. They carry zip ties and the kind of body armor you wear when you expect trouble. "Admiral wants you in the control room. Now." She stands. "Am I being transported?" "Admiral's orders. Move." They do not explain further. She allows them to secure her wrists, allows them to flank her through the corridors. The base has changed in the hours she has been confined. The usual bustle replaced by tension. Something is happening, something bigger than her arrest. The control room is crowded when they arrive. Mercer stands at the center surrounded by officers. Bradford is there. Whitmore, Prescott. Others she recognizes from 3 months of observation, all of them staring at screens that display data she cannot see from the doorway. "Bring her in." Mercer's voice is different now, harder, angrier. Whatever composure he maintained this morning has cracked. The MPs push her forward. "You want to explain this?" He gestures at the main screen. She looks. The display shows the same access logs she was reviewing this morning. But someone has dug deeper, found more. The evidence she carefully documented is now visible for everyone in the room to see. Unauthorized access, data transfers, communication with external IP addresses that trace to private military contractors. "I was investigating those anomalies when I was arrested," she says calmly. "Investigating." He spins toward her. "You were not investigating. You were creating, planting evidence, trying to frame me for something I did not do. The access logs are time-stamped by the system. They cannot be falsified without leaving traces. The traces are not there, which means the logs are genuine." "Lies." His voice rises. "Someone got to the system. Someone modified the records. Someone is trying to destroy me." She remains silent. The room watches. Bradford's face has gone pale. He reviewed those same logs this morning. He knows what she knows. The evidence is real. The implications are devastating. "Admiral," Whitmore's voice is careful, measured. "Sir, if this data is accurate, we have a serious breach. We need to contact NCIS, initiate a formal investigation." "The only breach here is this woman," Mercer points at Eliza. "She planted this. She created it. I want her charged with falsifying official records. I want her charged with espionage. I want her locked away where she cannot hurt anyone else. Sir, with respect, the timestamps—" "I do not care about timestamps." His control is slipping, the mask of authority beginning to crack. Beneath it something uglier, fear, the panic of a man watching his life unravel. "I want her arrested, properly, formally. I want charges filed. I want her transferred to federal custody. Today." One of the MPs grabs Eliza's arm. The movement is rough, pulls her sleeve up. The fabric tears, and suddenly everything changes. The inside of her left forearm is exposed. The scarring from Syria, the jagged lines that map the explosion that should have killed her, and beneath the scars, ink, black and gray. A design that is instantly recognizable to anyone who spent time in special operations. A trident crossed with lightning bolts. Beneath it numbers, TF 7721. Unit designation, task force identification. The kind of marking that does not appear in any public database. The kind that is earned through blood and sacrifice in operations that officially never happen. The room goes silent. Not the shock silence from before. Something deeper, heavier. The silence of men recognizing something they never expected to see. Master Chief Harrigan is the first to speak. His voice comes out hoarse, barely above a whisper. "Holy Mother of God!" He takes a step closer, stares at the ink like it might disappear if he blinks. That is a JSOC operator mark. Task Force insignia. Tier 1. He looks up, meets her eyes. I have only seen that marking twice in 43 years, both times on operators who were legends before they turned 30. Bradford steps forward, squinting, his technical mind racing through implications. Sir, we need to verify this. Run her credentials through the deep system. If she is who that mark says she is nobody. Mercer's voice has gone shrill. A contractor, a civilian. That tattoo proves nothing. Anyone can get ink. Not that ink. Harrigan does not look away from Eliza. That specific pattern, those numbers, that is not something you request at a tattoo parlor. That is authorized, recorded, earned. Eliza reaches slowly into her chest pocket. Every eye tracks the movement. Hands drift toward weapons. The tension in the room spikes to breaking point. She pulls out a card. Not the contractor identification they have seen before. Something else. Red border. Holographic seal that shifts in the light. Serial number embossed across the top. Pentagon Access Authorization. Joint Special Operations Command. The serial number on this card matches the unit designation in that tattoo. Her voice is calm, level. Cross-reference them. Your own security system will confirm. Bradford takes the card with hands that tremble slightly, slides it through the reader. The system processes. Takes longer than a standard identification check. Running deeper verification. Checking databases most people do not know exist. The screen flashes green, then displays information that makes everyone in the room go completely still. Commander Eliza Blackwood, Special Access Program, Sovereign Ghost. Clearance TS-SCI plus SAP, Unit Task Force Phoenix. Redacted. A second window opens automatically. Shows a photograph from personnel files. Same woman, younger, wearing combat fatigues and a patch that matches the tattoo on her arm. Standing next to two generals whose faces are recognizable to anyone who follows defense news. A third window opens. Service record, heavily redacted, but enough visible to tell a story. 12 years active duty, multiple deployments. Commendations listed only by classification code. A Purple Heart, a Bronze Star with Valor Device. Medals that mean combat, real combat. The kind that leaves scars on bodies and souls. And at the bottom, a document that makes Whitmore step back involuntarily. A death certificate, dated 2 years ago. Syria, listed as killed in action during a convoy attack. Remains unrecoverable. Service with honor. You are supposed to be dead. His voice is hollow, empty. Eliza meets his eyes. I was, officially. The implications hang in the air like smoke from an explosion. A dead operator, walking among them, watching them, documenting their activities, for 3 months. Mercer's face has gone from red to white, the blood draining as the reality of his situation becomes clear. This is impossible. This is some kind of trick, some kind of... His voice trails off, because the evidence is on the screen. Verified by systems he trusts, documented by protocols that cannot be falsified. Commander Eliza Blackwood, Tier 1 operator, higher clearance than anyone in this room, higher clearance than him, the woman he mocked, dismissed, threatened to have arrested, the woman who told him she outranked him. She was telling the truth. Harrigan moves first. The old Master Chief draws himself to attention. 43 years of muscle memory snapping into place. His hand rises in a salute that carries the weight of recognition, of respect earned through service and sacrifice. Ma'am, his voice cracks slightly. I should have known. The grip, the breathing, the way you moved. I knew something was off, but I did not want to believe. You knew enough, Master Chief. Her voice softens for the first time. You saw what others missed. You trusted your instincts. That matters. The other officers remain frozen, caught between protocol and shock, between what they thought they knew and what the screens are telling them. Outside through the reinforced windows, the sound of helicopters grows louder. Multiple aircraft, approaching fast, the distinctive rhythm of Black Hawk rotors cutting through the Hawaiian air. Everyone turns toward the sound. 4 helicopters, descending toward the base helipad, not standard transport, command birds, the kind reserved for flag officers and emergency deployments, the kind that carry people whose authority exceeds anything a naval base can provide. Mercer's face goes gray. Who called them? Eliza checks her watch. Nobody called them Admiral. The protocol did. Automatically. When I miss my 1600 check-in, she lets that sink in. Standard procedure for deep cover operations. Missed check-in triggers immediate response. Ensures the asset is secure. Ensures evidence is preserved. The helicopters touch down. Through the windows, 4 figures emerge from the lead aircraft. Even at this distance, the stars on their uniforms catch the light. Generals, moving with the kind of purpose that suggests this is not a social visit. Mercer turns back to Eliza. His face is a battlefield of emotions. Fear, anger, desperation. The walls closing in from every direction. Whatever you think you found, whatever evidence you think you have, it is fabricated. Someone set me up. Someone. Admiral. Her voice cuts through his panic like a blade through fog. I have spent 3 months on this base. 3 months watching, 3 months documenting, 3 months building a case that will stand up to any scrutiny. She steps closer. Every file access, every transfer, every communication, all of it preserved on systems you did not know existed. All of it time-stamped and verified. All of it leading to one conclusion. The control room door opens. 4 generals enter. They are not wearing combat gear. Service dress, immaculate, professional. The kind of appearance that says this is official business at the highest level. The lead general is a woman, 3 stars, silver hair pulled back tight, eyes like flint that have seen every variation of corruption the military can produce. General Patricia Hartwell, Joint Special Operations Command. Behind her 3 more flag officers, 2 men and a woman, all wearing stars, all carrying the weight of decades of service and authority. Hartwell's gaze sweeps the room, takes in the screens, the officers, the tension that hangs like smoke after a battle. Her eyes land on Eliza. The entire room holds its breath. Every SEAL, every officer, every enlisted man, all of them watching, waiting, trying to understand what they are seeing, what it means. Harrigan watches from the corner, his heart pounding. 43 years in the Navy, and he has never seen anything like this. The woman they mocked, the contractor they dismissed, the civilian they threatened to arrest for espionage, standing there in her torn uniform. Scarred forearm exposed, waiting for the generals to acknowledge her. Hartwell's hand rises. The movement is crisp, precise. The salute of a 3-star general showing respect to a subordinate who has earned it through sacrifice. The room detonates. Gasps, actual audible gasps from multiple personnel. Someone drops a tablet. The clatter echoes like a gunshot in the stunned silence. The 3 generals behind Hartwell snap to attention. Their hands rise in unison. 4 salutes, precise, respectful, the kind you give to someone who has proven themselves beyond question. Commander Blackwood. Hartwell's voice could cut steel, each word landing with the weight of absolute authority. Welcome back. Eliza returns the salutes. Her posture shifts completely. The change is subtle but total. No longer the contractor trying to stay invisible. No longer the civilian enduring dismissal and contempt. Now she stands like what she is, what she has always been. An officer, a commander, someone who spent 12 years earning this moment through blood and sacrifice, and choices that left scars deeper than any tattoo. Prescott makes a sound, not quite a word, just air escaping. The sound of a man watching his entire world collapse. The woman he mocked for 3 months, the contractor he threatened with laundry duty, the civilian he dismissed as beneath notice. She outranks everyone in this room except the generals who came to save her. She outranks Admiral Conrad Mercer. She was telling the truth all along, and they never believed her. Hartwell's gaze moves from Eliza to Mercer. The temperature in the room drops 20 degrees. Her expression carries the kind of cold fury that ends careers, that ends freedom, that ends everything a man like Mercer thought he had built. Admiral Conrad Mercer. Her voice rings through the silent room. You are being placed under arrest for violations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, specifically unauthorized disclosure of classified information, conspiracy to commit espionage, conduct unbecoming an officer. Mercer's mouth opens, closes, opens again. This is, you cannot, the evidence is fabricated. The evidence was compiled by one of our most decorated operators over 3 months of direct observation. One of the other generals steps forward. 2 stars, a chest full of ribbons that tell stories of battles most people will never hear about. Commander Blackwood has been embedded at this facility since August, monitoring, documenting, building a case that will stand up to any scrutiny. He looks at Mercer with something like pity. Every file access, every transfer, every communication, all of it preserved on systems you did not know existed. Systems designed specifically to protect evidence from exactly the kind of tampering you are suggesting. The MPs who arrested Eliza this morning stepped forward. Their faces have gone pale. They are about to arrest an admiral, on orders from generals, based on evidence gathered by a woman they put in handcuffs. Sir, please turn around. Mercer does not move. This is a mistake. I am being framed. Someone. Turn around, Admiral. Hartwell's voice brooks no argument. Mercer turns. The handcuffs click into place. The sound echoes through the control room like the closing of a book, the end of a chapter, the beginning of consequences that will ripple through the military for years to come. They lead him toward the door. He stops, looks back at Eliza one last time. How long, his voice is broken now, stripped of authority and arrogance. How long have you been planning this? Eliza meets his eyes. Since Syria, since I woke up in a hospital and realized someone had sold my convoy's location. Since I learned that operators do not just die in coincidental ambushes. She pauses, lets the weight of those words settle. 2 years, Admiral. 2 years being dead. 2 years hunting the people who killed my team. And 3 months watching you prove exactly who you are. They take him out. The door closes behind him. The room remains frozen. Officers and enlisted men trying to process what they have witnessed. The world they knew reshaping itself around new truths. Hartwell turns to the remaining personnel. This facility is now under JSOC jurisdiction, pending completion of the investigation. All personnel will remain on base until cleared. All communications will be monitored. Anyone with information relevant to this matter is required to come forward immediately. She pauses, lets her gaze sweep the room. Anyone who participated in the unauthorized disclosure of classified information will be identified and prosecuted to the full extent of military law. There will be no exceptions, no deals, no mercy for those who betrayed their oaths. Silence. Dismissed. People begin to move, slowly at first, then faster, eager to escape the room where their world just ended, eager to process what they saw, to understand what it means. Prescott lingers. His face carries the expression of a man who has just watched everything he believed collapse into rubble. 3 months of mockery, 3 months of cruelty, 3 months of putting a woman in her place. A woman who could have ended his career with a single word. A woman who let him dig his own grave one insult at a time. He opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. Ma'am, not now, Lieutenant. Eliza's voice is not cruel, just tired. We will talk later. Right now there is work to do. He leaves. Harrigan remains. The old Master Chief stands at attention, his eyes bright with something that might be tears. I knew, he says quietly, from the first day. I knew you were something else. Should have trusted my instincts. Should have. You did exactly what you should have done, Master Chief. She moves toward him, stops at arm's length. You noticed, you questioned, and when it mattered, you did not expose me. You gave me the space to complete my mission. Still feel like I should have done more. What you did was enough. She reaches out, takes his weathered hand in hers. 43 years of service. Everything you have seen, everything you have survived. That experience is why you knew something was wrong. That instinct is why you stayed quiet. She squeezes gently. Thank you, Master Chief, for seeing what others could not, for trusting even when you did not understand. Harrigan nods, swallows hard. What happens now? Eliza releases his hand, turns toward the screens that still display the evidence of Mercer's betrayal. Now we find out how deep this goes. Bradford still stands at the console, his face ashen, his hands trembling as they hover over the keyboard. "There is more," he says. "I found something else while you were being detained." Eliza moves to stand beside him. "Show me." He pulls up a new window. Access patterns, authentication records, a second set of credentials accessing the same files Mercer touched. Someone else was coordinating with him, someone with even higher clearance. The data resolves, general-level credentials, accessing every file Mercer pulled, sometimes before, sometimes after, always within hours, like they were working in tandem. Eliza's blood runs cold. Hootie Bradford traces the authentication chain, pulls up the user profile. The name appears on screen, General Theodore Ashford, the man who authorized Operation Sovereign Ghost, the man who suggested using her for this mission, the man who changed the intelligence briefing that sent her convoy into a kill zone. Eliza stares at the name. 2 years of hunting, 2 years of following threads, 2 years of believing she was getting closer to the truth. And the truth was standing behind her the entire time. Ashford did not just know about the leak, he was running it. He tried to kill her in Syria. When that failed, he used her death as an opportunity, sent her hunting for Mercer while he stayed safe, protected, above suspicion. She was never the hunter. She was the bait. And she walked right into the trap without ever knowing it existed. The name burns on the screen like an accusation. General Theodore Ashford. Eliza stares at it, feels the weight of 2 years pressing down on her chest. 2 years of hunting, 2 years of following threads that she thought led to truth. 2 years of believing she was getting closer to justice for Miller and Jackson and Crawford and all the others. And the man who sent her on this mission was the one who killed them. The realization settles into her bones like ice. Cold, heavy, absolute. Ashford authorized the intelligence briefing change that sent her convoy into the kill zone. Ashford suggested using her supposed death as cover for Operation Sovereign Ghost. Ashford pointed her at Mercer like a weapon, knowing she would find evidence, knowing she would bring down a traitor. While the real traitor watched from the shadows, protected, untouchable, using her rage and her grief and her desperate need for justice as tools in his own game. She was never hunting him. He was hunting through her. "Commander," Hartwell's voice cuts through the fog of revelation. "We need to discuss next steps." Eliza turns. The general stands near the door, her expression unreadable. The other flag officers have dispersed, securing the base, coordinating with Washington, beginning the long process of damage assessment that follows every betrayal. "General Ashford," Eliza's voice comes out flat, controlled, the voice of someone holding themselves together through sheer force of will. "He coordinated with Mercer, every file, every transfer. The pattern is clear." "I see that." Hartwell moves closer, studies the screen. Her face remains granite, but something shifts in her eyes. Recognition, understanding, the dawning awareness that this situation is far worse than anyone anticipated. "Ashford was my mentor." Her voice drops, softer now, almost human. 20 years ago, he pulled me out of a desk job and put me on the path to where I am today. I trusted him with my career, with my life. He tried to kill me." The words hang between them. The Syria briefing, the route change. He modified it 2 hours before we departed, sent us directly into the ambush. Hartwell closes her eyes. Just for a moment. When she opens them, the softness is gone, replaced by something harder, colder. The face of a general who has just been given a target. "We need evidence that will hold up." "The access logs show coordination, the timing, the pattern. That proves he accessed files. It does not prove he sold them. It does not prove he ordered the Syria ambush. A good lawyer will argue coincidence, parallel investigations, innocent explanations." Eliza knows she is right. The evidence is damning but not conclusive. Ashford has decades of service, commendations, political connections. He will not fall easily, will not go quietly, will fight with every resource at his disposal. and he has resources she cannot imagine. Where is he now? Left the base 20 minutes before the lockdown. Bradford speaks from his console. His voice carries the hollow tone of a man whose world has collapsed and rebuilt itself twice in the same day. His departure was logged at 15:42. Private vehicle. Destination listed as Hickam Air Force Base for transport to the mainland. 20 minutes before the lockdown, 20 minutes before her missed check-in triggered the protocols, someone warned him. He knew. Eliza's voice is quiet. Certain. He knew I was compromised, knew the cavalry was coming, got out before anyone could stop him. That means he has someone inside the command structure. Hartwell's jaw tightens. Someone with access to sovereign ghost protocols. Someone who knew when you were supposed to check in and what would happen when you missed it. The implications spread through the room like poison. Not just Mercer, not just Ashford, a network, a web of corruption that reaches into the highest levels of military intelligence. People who have been selling secrets for years, decades maybe, building fortunes on the blood of operators who trusted them. We need to move carefully. Hartwell pulls out her phone, begins typing. I am alerting NCIS and the FBI, Joint Task Force, but we keep the circle small. Until we know who else is compromised, we trust no one outside this room. She looks at Eliza. Can you continue? The question carries weight, not just operational, personal. She is asking if Eliza can hold together long enough to finish what she started, if the revelation about Ashford has broken something essential. Eliza thinks about Miller, about his hand gripping her arm in the Syrian darkness, about the light fading from his eyes as he made her promise, about the 11 names she carries like stones in her chest. I can continue. Good, Hartwell nods. Because this is not over. Mercer was a piece, an important piece but not the whole puzzle. Ashford is the real target now, and he knows we are coming. She turns to the room. Bradford, I want every file Ashford touched in the last 2 years. Every communication, every travel record. Build me a complete picture of his activities. Yes, ma'am. Whitmore locked down all external communications from this base. Nothing goes out without my personal authorization. If Ashford has more allies here, I want them blind and deaf. Understood, General. And someone find me Master Chief Harrigan. I need operators I can trust. The room erupts into controlled chaos. People moving with purpose. The machinery of military justice grinding into motion. Eliza stands apart from it, watching, processing, trying to reconcile the man she thought she knew with the monster the evidence reveals. Ashford recruited her personally, visited her hospital room in Germany, spoke words of comfort and purpose, gave her a mission when she had nothing left to live for. And the whole time he was the one who took everything from her. The door opens. Harrigan enters. His weathered face carries the exhaustion of a man who has been running on adrenaline for hours, but his eyes are sharp, alert, ready. You called for me, General. Master Chief, I need your assessment. Hartwell gestures toward Eliza. Commander Blackwood has been under deep cover for 3 months. She has just learned that the man who sent her on this mission is the one responsible for the deaths of her entire team. I need to know if she is still operational. Harrigan looks at Eliza. Really looks. The way he did that first morning when he noticed her grip on the tablet. The way he did when he recognized the breathing pattern. The way someone who has spent 43 years reading people in combat looks at another warrior. Permission to speak freely, ma'am. Granted. I have watched Commander Blackwood for 3 months. Watched her endure treatment that would have broken most people. Watched her maintain cover under pressure that would have cracked any operator I have ever known. He pauses. She is angry. She has every right to be angry. But she is controlled. Focused. She will not let emotion compromise the mission. He turns back to Hartwell. In my professional opinion, Commander Blackwood is the most dangerous person in this room. And right now that danger is pointed at exactly the right target. Hartwell nods. Thank you, Master Chief. She turns to Eliza. You heard him. Do you agree with his assessment? Eliza considers the question. The anger is there, burning beneath the surface like magma waiting to erupt. The betrayal cuts deeper than any wound she has ever received. The knowledge that Ashford used her, manipulated her, tried to kill her, and then exploited her survival for his own purposes. But the anger is not in control. She is. I agree. Then we continue. Hartwell moves to the main console. Here is what we know. General Theodore Ashford has been coordinating with Admiral Mercer to sell classified tactical intelligence to private military contractors. The operation has been running for at least 8 months, possibly longer. The Syria ambush that killed Commander Blackwood's team was likely orchestrated to eliminate witnesses or test buyers or both. She pulls up a map. Ashford left this base 20 minutes before lockdown. His stated destination was Hickam for transport to Washington. But I do not believe he is going to Washington. He is running. Eliza speaks with certainty. He knows we have Mercer. Knows Mercer will talk eventually. Knows the evidence trail leads back to him. He is going to disappear. That was my assessment as well. Hartwell enlarges the map. The question is where. He has resources, connections, decades of experience in covert operations. He knows how to vanish. He will need help. Bradford speaks from his console. I found something in the communication logs. Encrypted transmissions from Ashford's office to an external server. The encryption is military grade, but I managed to trace the destination. He pulls up the data. Nexus Strategic Solutions, private military contractor based in Virginia. They have been the recipient of the leaked intelligence. Nexus is the buyer. Eliza moves closer to the screen. They paid for the intel. Mercer and Ashford delivered it. But Nexus is not just a customer. They are partners, which means they might be helping him disappear. Hartwell's expression hardens. Get me everything on Nexus. Board members, financial records, known associates. If Ashford is running to them for help, I want to know where they would take him. The investigation continues through the evening. Layer by layer, the picture becomes clearer. Nexus Strategic Solutions is not just a private military contractor. It is a front, a sophisticated operation designed to purchase classified intelligence and sell it to the highest bidder. Foreign governments, terrorist organizations, anyone with enough money and enough need. Ashford has been feeding them for years, building relationships, providing access, taking payment through shell companies and offshore accounts that would take forensic accountants months to unravel. Mercer was just the latest recruit, a greedy admiral with expensive tastes and a gambling problem that created financial pressure. Easy to corrupt, easy to control, easy to sacrifice when things got too hot. And Eliza was the insurance policy, a dead operator sent to hunt a traitor. If she succeeded, Mercer would fall, and Ashford would remain protected. If she failed, if she was exposed, Ashford could claim ignorance, could paint her as a rogue operative pursuing a personal vendetta. Either way, he won, until now. The sun sets over Pearl Harbor. The sky bleeds crimson and gold across the Pacific, painting the water in fire. Once she might have found it beautiful. Now she only sees the colors of burning vehicles, of a world that took everything from her and forced her to take it back. But tonight is different. Tonight the sunset feels less like a wound and more like a promise kept. Eliza stands at the window of the control room, watching the darkness gather, feeling the weight of everything she has learned pressing down on her shoulders. 11 names, 11 lives, 11 ghosts who deserve justice. Miller, Jackson, Crawford, Brennan, Wallace, Thornton, Douglas, Harrington, Caldwell, Bennett, Adams. They trusted the system, trusted their leaders, trusted that the people giving orders had their best interests at heart. And one of those people sold them to die. Commander. Harrigan appears beside her. His voice is quiet, respectful. The voice of someone who understands what she is carrying. The general wants to see you. They found something. She follows him back to the main console. Hartwell stands with a tablet in her hand. Her expression has changed, something that might be satisfaction lurking beneath the professional mask. We have him. Where? Nexus has a facility in Nevada, Desert Compound, officially listed as a training center for private security contractors. Unofficially, it is where they process sensitive materials and coordinate with foreign clients. She hands Eliza the tablet. Satellite imagery from 30 minutes ago shows a private aircraft landing at their airstrip. The tail number matches a plane registered to one of Ashford's shell companies. Eliza studies the images. The compound is isolated, miles from any population center, high walls, guard towers, the kind of security that suggests they have something worth protecting. He thinks he is safe. He is wrong. Hartwell takes back the tablet. I have authorization from the Pentagon for a joint special operations raid. JSOC and FBI. We go in at 0400 tomorrow. Take down the compound. Secure all evidence. Arrest everyone on site. I want to be there. The words come out before Eliza can stop them, before she can consider the implications, before she can weigh the costs against the benefits. She needs to be there, needs to look Ashford in the eye when they take him down, needs him to know that the woman he tried to kill the operator he used as a pawn is the one who ended him. Hartwell studies her for a long moment. This is not about revenge, Commander. This is about justice. There is a difference. I know the difference. Do you? The question hangs between them. Eliza thinks about Miller again, about the promise she made, about the 11 names she carries. Justice means he faces trial. Justice means the evidence is presented. Justice means he spends the rest of his life in a cell, knowing that everything he built was torn down by someone he underestimated. She meets Hartwell's eyes. Revenge would be putting a bullet in his head and walking away. That is not what I want. I want him to suffer the way he made others suffer. Slowly, completely, publicly. Hartwell nods. Then you can be there. But you follow orders. You stay in formation. And when we take him down, you let the process work. Understood. Good. Brief at 0200. We move at 0330. The control room empties as people disperse to prepare for the operation ahead. Equipment checks, tactical planning, the thousand small details that separate success from failure in military operations. Eliza remains, standing at the window, watching the stars wheel overhead, the same stars she learned to navigate by during survival training, fixed points in a universe that suddenly seems full of variables. The door opens behind her. She does not turn, knows who it is by the sound of the footsteps, the hesitation before speaking. Ma'am. Prescott's voice is small, uncertain, stripped of the arrogance that defined him for 3 months. May I speak with you? She turns. He stands in the doorway. 26 years old, ambitious, the kind of junior officer who builds his career on the backs of people he considers beneath him. The kind who laughed loudest at his commanding officer's jokes. The kind who spent 3 months making her life as difficult as possible. Speak. He swallows hard. I came to apologize for everything. The jokes, the comments, the way I treated you. He cannot meet her eyes. I was part of the problem, followed the Admiral's lead, thought that was how you got ahead in this organization. Make the right enemies. Please the right people. His voice breaks slightly. I never thought about who I was hurting. Never considered that you might be more than what you appeared. Never imagined that my actions had consequences beyond my own career. He trails off. Eliza watches him struggle, watches the shame work through his expression, the dawning understanding of how wrong he was. Lieutenant, her voice is not cruel, just tired. Look at me. He forces his eyes up, meets her gaze. I could have ended your career with a single word, one call to General Hartwell, one mention of the harassment I endured. You would be facing court-martial charges right now instead of apologizing. His face goes pale. I know. Do you know why I did not? No, ma'am. Because you are not important enough to be evil. You are just weak. You followed the strongest voice in the room without questioning whether that voice was right. You bullied someone you thought could not fight back because it made you feel powerful. She steps closer. That is not treason. That is cowardice. And cowardice can be fixed. Remember this moment. Remember how it felt to discover that the woman you dismissed could have destroyed you. Remember the shame you feel right now. She holds his gaze. And the next time you meet someone who does not fit your expectations, look closer instead of dismissing them. Ask questions instead of making assumptions. Consider the possibility that you might be wrong. Yes, ma'am. Do that, and you might become the officer you think you already are. She turns back to the window. Now get some sleep, Lieutenant. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. He leaves without another word. Eliza watches the stars for a few more minutes, then makes her way to her temporary quarters to prepare for what comes next. The brief at 0200 is efficient: 30 operators, mixed team of SEALs and Army Rangers. FBI tactical support for the arrests. Helicopter insertion under cover of darkness. Coordinated breach of the compound from 3 directions simultaneously. Eliza listens, absorbs, files away the details that will matter when bullets start flying. The compound layout. Guard positions based on satellite surveillance. Expected resistance. Rules of engagement. Ashford is designated high-value target, to be taken alive if possible. The intelligence he carries in his head is worth more than any satisfaction his death might provide. The other targets are secondary. Nexus executives, security personnel, anyone with knowledge of the operation that has been selling American secrets for years. Hartwell leads the brief personally, her voice calm, professional, the voice of a general who has done this dozens of times before. We go in hard and fast, secure the compound, preserve evidence, minimize casualties. She looks around the room. Any questions? Silence. Then gear up. We lift off in 90 minutes. The preparation happens in controlled chaos. Weapons checked and double-checked. Body armor fitted and adjusted. Communications equipment tested and verified. The 1,000 small rituals that operators perform before stepping into the unknown. Eliza moves through them on autopilot, muscle memory taking over while her mind races ahead to what awaits. Ashford will be there, protected by private security, surrounded by people who have no idea that their world is about to end. He will not surrender quietly. Men like him never do. They fight until the last moment, bargain, threaten, try to leverage whatever remaining power they possess. But his power is gone. He just does not know it yet. Harrigan appears beside her as she checks her sidearm. You ready? I have been ready for 2 years. That is what I am worried about. She looks at him. Master Chief, I know you want this, know you need this, but do not let the wanting make you careless. His voice is low, just for her. Ashford is a survivor, has been doing this longer than you have been alive. He will have contingencies, escape routes, ways out that we have not anticipated. I know. Do you? Because I have seen good operators die because they were so focused on their target that they missed the threat right next to them. He puts a hand on her shoulder. Get the justice you deserve, but come back alive to enjoy it. She nods. Thank you, Master Chief. Just an old man's advice. Take it or leave it. He moves away to complete his own preparations. The helicopters lift off at 0330 exactly. 4 Black Hawks carrying 30 operators into the darkness. Rotors cutting through the night air as they race toward Nevada and the confrontation that has been building for 2 years. Eliza sits in the lead aircraft, helmet secured, rifle across her knees, eyes fixed on the darkness beyond the open door. The flight takes 94 minutes. 94 minutes of silence and preparation and the slow building of tension that precedes combat. The familiar tightness in the chest, the sharpening of senses, the world narrowing to the immediate and essential. The compound appears below them, dark against the desert floor, high walls casting shadows in the starlight. Guard towers manned by figures who do not yet know death is coming from the sky. The helicopters split into 3 groups. Alpha Team takes the main gate. Bravo Team targets the residential quarters. Charlie Team secures the airstrip and any aircraft that might provide escape. Eliza is with Alpha. The helicopter descends fast, hard, touches down 50 meters from the main entrance in a storm of dust and noise that shatters the desert silence. They hit the ground running, 30 seconds to the wall. Breach charges placed and detonated. The gate disappears in a flash of light and thunder that announces their arrival with unmistakable clarity. Then they are inside. The compound erupts into chaos, alarms screaming, lights flashing, security personnel scrambling to respond to a threat they never anticipated. The professional warriors who guard this place are good, but they are not good enough. Alpha Team moves through them like a scalpel through flesh, precise, deadly. Each movement coordinated with the others, covering angles, clearing rooms. neutralizing threats before they can organize resistance. Eliza moves with them, part of the formation, following protocols drilled into her through years of training and hundreds of operations. But her mind is elsewhere, searching, hunting, looking for the one face that matters. They breach the main building, a sprawling structure of concrete and steel that serves as the compound's command center. Inside, the chaos is even more intense. People running, shouting, trying to destroy evidence and escape justice. Second floor! Bradford's voice crackles over the radio. Satellite shows movement in the executive suite. Alpha team pivots, takes the stairs two at a time, reaches the second floor in 30 seconds. The executive suite is at the end of a long corridor. Double doors, reinforced, the kind designed to slow attackers while those inside escape through other means. The breach charge takes care of that. The doors disappear, Alpha team floods through, and there he is, General Theodore Ashford, standing in the center of the room, wearing civilian clothes, face calm, composed, the expression of a man who has been expecting this moment, who has prepared for it. General Ashford, Eliza's voice cuts through the chaos. You are under arrest for treason, espionage, and conspiracy to commit murder. He looks at her, really looks, and something flickers in his eyes. Recognition, understanding, the dawning awareness of who she is and what she represents. Commander Blackwood, his voice is smooth, controlled, the voice of a man who has talked his way out of difficult situations for decades. I was wondering when you would figure it out. Hands behind your head, on your knees. We should talk first. There are things you do not understand, things that would change your perspective if you knew them. On your knees, now. He does not move. I did not want to kill your team, you know. That was not the plan. The plan was to test the intelligence pipeline, see if the buyers could be trusted with time-sensitive tactical data. His voice takes on an almost apologetic tone. Your convoy was supposed to be rerouted away from the ambush. Someone made a mistake. Miscommunication. By the time I realized what had happened, it was too late. Eliza's finger tightens on the trigger. You are telling me my team died because of a clerical error. I am telling you that war is complicated, that sometimes good people die for reasons that have nothing to do with malice, that the system I built has saved more lives than it has cost. The system you built sold American secrets to enemies. The system I built funded operations that Congress would never authorize, protected assets that official channels could not acknowledge, accomplished objectives that kept this country safe while politicians argued about budgets. He spreads his hands. I am not a traitor, Commander. I am a patriot who understood that sometimes you have to do ugly things to preserve what matters. Miller, Jackson, Crawford, Brennan, Wallace, Thornton, Douglas, Harrington, Caldwell, Bennett, Adams. Eliza speaks each name like a bullet. Those were the ugly things you did. 11 operators, 11 Americans, 11 patriots who trusted the system you corrupted. Casualties of war. Murder victims. She steps closer. On your knees, General. I will not ask again. For a moment, she thinks he might resist, might reach for a weapon, might force her to do what part of her desperately wants to do. But he is too smart for that, too calculated. He knows that death would end his suffering, that a bullet would be quick and merciful compared to what awaits him. So he kneels, puts his hands behind his head, allows the operators to secure him with zip ties and search him for weapons. As they lift him to his feet, he looks at Eliza one more time. You think this is over. You think arresting me ends anything. But the network I built is bigger than one man, bigger than one operation. You have cut off a head, Commander, but the body will grow another. Then we will cut that one off too. You cannot win this war. There will always be people willing to sell secrets, always be buyers willing to pay, always be those who understand that information is the only currency that truly matters. Maybe, but you will not be one of them. You will spend the rest of your life in a cell watching everything you built collapse, knowing that the woman you tried to kill is the one who ended you. She leans close. Every day, General, every single day for the rest of your life, you will remember this moment. Remember that you lost. Remember that justice found you despite everything you did to escape it. His expression flickers. Just for a second, the mask of composure cracking to reveal the fear beneath. Then it is gone, replaced by the cold calculation that has defined his career. We will see, Commander. We will see. They lead him out, through the chaos of the compound, past the bodies of security personnel who chose the wrong side, into the waiting helicopter that will carry him to federal custody in a future of trials and testimony and eventual imprisonment. Eliza watches him go, watches until the helicopter lifts off and disappears into the darkness, watches until the sound of rotors fades and only the desert silence remains. Then she allows herself to breathe. The operation continues for 3 more hours. Evidence secured. Prisoners processed. The compound systematically dismantled to reveal every secret it contains. The scope of what they find is staggering. Financial records showing payments totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. Communication logs documenting sales to foreign governments and terrorist organizations. Personnel files identifying dozens of assets embedded throughout the American military and intelligence community. The network Ashford built is vast, sophisticated, the work of decades. But it is exposed now. Every name, every transaction, every betrayal documented and preserved for the investigations that will follow. The sun rises over the Nevada desert. Eliza stands outside the compound, watching the light spread across the sand, feeling the warmth on her face after hours of darkness and violence. Harrigan appears beside her. It is done. Is it? The immediate threat is neutralized. Ashford is in custody. The evidence is secured. The rest is paperwork and trials and the slow grinding of justice through the legal system. He pauses. But that is not what you are asking, is it? Eliza shakes her head. He mentioned a network, said it was bigger than one man, that cutting off a head would not kill the body. He was trying to scare you, trying to make you doubt. Or he was telling the truth. She turns to face him. Tower 4, the message I received before the raid. Someone sent me a photograph from Syria, from the ambush, taken from the rooftop where I saw someone watching. You think there are others? I know there are others. Ashford did not build this alone, did not run it alone. There are people still out there, people who think they are safe because we caught the head of the snake. And you want to hunt them. It is not a question. I promised Miller, promised all of them. I would find everyone responsible. Everyone. Harrigan nods slowly. Then the mission continues. The mission continues. They stand in silence for a moment. 2 warriors watching the sun rise over a battlefield that stretches far beyond what either can see. The flight back to Pearl Harbor takes longer than the flight out. Time to think. Time to process. Time to begin the slow work of understanding everything that has happened and everything that still needs to be done. Eliza sits in the helicopter, helmet off, rifle secured, eyes fixed on the clouds below. Ashford is in custody. Mercer is awaiting trial. The immediate threat has been neutralized, but the network remains. Tower 4 remains. The shadow that watched her convoy burn remains. Somewhere out there, people are still operating, still selling secrets, still getting Americans killed for profit. And she will find them, every single one. The helicopter lands at Pearl Harbor just after noon. The base has changed since she left. The tension replaced by something else. Relief maybe, or exhaustion. The knowledge that a crisis has passed and normal operations can resume. Prescott meets her on the tarmac. His face carries a different expression now. Respect, perhaps even admiration. The look of someone who has learned a hard lesson and is trying to become better for it. Commander, General Hartwell wants to see you in the control room. Thank you, Lieutenant. She walks past him, stops, turns back. Prescott, ma'am, you did good work during the raid. The intel you pulled on the compound layout saved lives. His face flushes. Thank you, ma'am. I was just trying to help. Keep trying. That is how you become the officer you want to be. She continues toward the control room. Hartwell is waiting inside, along with the other generals who arrived yesterday. Their faces carry the weight of everything they have learned, everything they now have to deal with. Commander Blackwood? Hartwell's voice is formal, official. On behalf of Joint Special Operations Command, and the United States military, I want to thank you for your service. Your actions over the past 3 months and the past 24 hours have exposed one of the most significant security breaches in recent history. Thank you, General. Your cover identity is being retired. Commander Eliza Blackwood is officially returned to active status. The death certificate has been voided. Your service record has been updated to reflect your continued operations. She pauses. You are alive again, Commander. Officially and permanently. Alive. The word carries weight she did not expect. For 2 years, she has existed in the space between life and death. A ghost hunting ghosts, a shadow moving through shadows. Now she is real again. What happens next? That depends on you. Hartwell studies her for a long moment. You have earned the right to walk away. Take a desk job. Teach at Coronado. Retire with honors. No one would question it after everything you have been through. But we both know you are not going to do that. A small smile touches the general's lips. Tower 4, the network that Ashford mentioned. There is still work to be done. Yes, ma'am, there is. Then consider yourself assigned to a new operation. Long-term, deep investigation, finding and eliminating whatever remains of the network that sold out American operators. Hartwell extends her hand. Welcome back, Commander. The hunt continues. Eliza takes the hand, shakes it firmly. Thank you, General. I will not let you down. That night, Eliza returns to her temporary quarters for the last time. The small room that has been home for 3 months. The concrete walls and metal bed and narrow window that looks out over the Pacific. She sits on the bed, allows herself 60 seconds of stillness, not to mourn, not to grieve, but to acknowledge, to honor, to remember. Miller, Jackson, Crawford, Brennan, Wallace, Thornton, Douglas, Harrington, Caldwell, Bennett, Adams, 11 names, 11 lives, 11 debts partially paid. Ashford is in custody. Mercer will face trial. The immediate betrayers have been brought to justice. But the network remains. Tower 4 remains. The mission continues. Her tablet chimes. A new message. Encrypted. From a source she does not recognize. She opens it. The subject line makes her blood run cold. Tower 4 sends congratulations. See you soon. Below the text, an image. Her, standing outside the Nevada compound this morning, watching the sun rise, unaware that she was being observed. Someone was there. Someone is still watching. Someone wants her to know that the game is not over, that the hunt goes both ways, that she has made enemies who will not stop until one of them is destroyed. Eliza stares at the image for a long moment. Then she closes the tablet, lies down on the metal bed, closes her eyes. Before sleep takes her, she whispers the names one final time. Miller, Jackson, Crawford, Brennan, Wallace, Thornton, Douglas, Harrington, Caldwell, Bennett, Adams. 11 promises, 11 debts, 11 ghosts who walk beside her into whatever comes next. I am coming for you, she speaks into the darkness. All of you, however long it takes, wherever you hide, I will find you. Outside her window, the stars wheel overhead, fixed points in a universe of variables. And Commander Eliza Blackwood, officially alive again after 2 years of death, sleeps the sleep of the righteous. Tomorrow brings new missions. Tomorrow brings new ghosts to hunt. But tonight, justice is enough. They mocked her rank. They forgot she outranked their corruption. And now they know. The ghost has returned, and she will not stop. Not ever. Not until every last one of them pays for what they did. The mission continues.